In a world where progress never sleeps, one company stands out as the driving force behind infrastructure and energy solutions. Introducing our fuel company and cement producer, where excellence meets efficiency. Jar Oil. The company have 30 filling stations across the country that are all operating, which includes the recently completed Yarambamba and Old Yundum filling stations. And our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Along the years, Jar Oil introduces importation and distribution of cement in their line of business to diversify and strengthen their operations. Are you a cement retailer? At the moment, Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market. With a focus on sustainability and innovation, we are paving the way for a greener, stronger future. Trust in us to fuel your projects and lay the groundwork for success. We currently produce over 25,200,000 bags per year. As the largest cement producer in the country, Jar Oil also targets to export cement to the neighboring countries like Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, and others. Join us on our journey to shape a world where every drop of fuel and every bag of cement makes a difference. Together, we can build a brighter tomorrow.
Good morning on Friday, the 28th of March 2025. It's 8 a.m. in the Gambia and therefore coffee time on West Coast Radio with me, Peter Gomez. The program is also on YouTube thanks to Jar Oil and Wave.
Excellent jam, Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh. Yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.
Let's talk drugs now with the Director General of the Gambia Drug Law Enforcement Agency, known for short as D-League. And the Gambia will soon open the first rehabilitation and treatment center for addiction with a facility currently under construction in Tranquil. The Director General of the Drug Law Enforcement Agency is Mr. Demba Ceesay. He's with us in the studio. Good morning, Demba.
Good morning, Peter.
Good to have you here.
Good to meet you this morning again.
I hear there's a great celebration in Ceesay because we just have what? At most 2 more days to go.
2 more days to go, yeah.
See,
2 more days to go.
You even know.
And you owe me coffee, a cup of coffee. In 2 days' time, I'm going to come for my cup of coffee since I can't have it today.
Don't pretend. You had one already.
Thank you.
Not joking. Mm-hmm. He hasn't had anything. Okay, you're here to talk about this new rehab center.
Yes, please.
All right. Mm-hmm. We'll do that in a bit because I want us to start with a reaction to last Friday's conversation, with ghetto youth and activist Muhammad Silla, a.k.a. Sparkling Black. Well, we got a lot of feedback on that program, the most interesting of which came in the form of a voice note. And I just want us to take a moment to listen to the confession.
Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Peter, and then assalamu alaikum to your listeners. I've been listening to your program as always. I'm a big fan to Coffee Time with Peter Gomez. On Friday, as I was listening, definitely I just could not hold it. I was, tears kept rolling from my eyes. I could not hold it. I was crying all alone because I'm a victim of these, ghetto boys. I was born in the year 1992. I am 33 years old now. I was introduced to these drugs at my early age, at a very tender age. because I could remember back in 2006 when I was sitting this WAS exam, these drugs made me fail. To be honest, I was among the brightest students in our school by then, so this meant that I had to repeat. I repeated, I scored good result, then I proceeded to grade 10. That would be around 2008. But again, the same thing, because of this bad influence and how I was very addicted to this drug, I had to drop out from school, not because of finance, but because I was very, very addicted to this drug. To cut the story short, drugs has, really affected me in previous years. But now, thank God, I've quit most of these hard drugs. Although still now I take drugs like Jamba or Yamba, as they usually, as locally called in Gambia. But definitely, what this boy was saying is true. There's a big gap when it comes to how drugs are being handled in this country. Now we have different drugs, at a very, very cheap rate. And then, you'll see young boys as early as the age of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. At a very tender age, they start to use it, not knowing the consequences that it will later, brought to their lives. Is very, very sad. It's very, very sad. By listening to what he was saying, I can tell you this, there are so many people in the ghetto, definitely. You see them, you think that, these people are aimless, these people are this and that. No, they have aim. They have aim. And I wish you could sit with them just for 5 minutes. That's the time you will come to realize how positive-minded some of them are. And I can tell you for free, Billahi, still now, some of them, want to quit, but they cannot. And this is simply because they don't have the support, the right support, and the support not from the government and even from their family members. I can take myself as an example. I became the first smoker in our compound or in my family. But, the time they realized that, I smoke, they all isolated me. And they sidelined me in short, So it's very, 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 very disheartening. And the government, I'm not saying that they are not doing much, but still they need to, put more effort on these drug issues. This crack, as he said, these are just, one of the late drugs introduced in this country. Course is there, crack is there. You have, these pills, and these. There are too many cheap drugs, and they are very, very dangerous, very, very dangerous. I can tell you for free, billahi. And it has, a very, very bad impact in the lives of the young people in this country. I wish the government could do a survey to show how many people are dying, from these drugs. Billahi, they will be shocked to see the result. I'm telling you, and it is now been exposed to the provinces of this country. Now, even if you go to the provinces, you will see small kids, using this cost, and these cracks, these pills, different types of them. So it's just disheartening. As I said, I am a victim. The ghetto life is not easy. The ghetto life is not easy at all. It's not that we are aimless, but the support is not there. In short, the support is not there. The government need to tighten their belt, and try to stop these drugs. If you look at South America, countries where you have, these drugs, drug things, the crime rate there is just very high. And this boy is very intelligent, as he said. They first introduce a drug that will, that the moment you take it, you can do anything. Whatever comes to your mind, you can do. Even if, let's say, the head of state is sitting, if you take these drugs and you have a gun in your hand, billahi, you can kill him unknowingly. I am a victim. This is not a story. This is reality.
Quite an outpouring of emotion, and I'll be coming back to some of the issues raised in that honest contribution later on. But let's start with what brings the D-League Director General to Coffee Time this morning, the imminent establishment of the Gambia's first rehab center for drug addicts, like the young man we've just been listening to.
Our flour is made from high-grade wheat, imported from global markets and blended to produce the best flour in the Gambia. At GMC, every bag of Eco 65 flour is fortified with vitamins and minerals, undergoes rigorous testing and quality controls to ensure that the flour produced meets our high-quality standards.
Demba, welcome back. Let's start with the rehabilitation project in the context of the mandate of the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, which you lead.
Thank you once again. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
Like you said, we will come back to this confession here, which is really worrying.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, the context of this rehab center is within their own mandate. The Drug Law Enforcement Agency, formerly the Drug Enforcement Agency, NDAA, is charged with the responsibility of looking into the issues of drug in this country, vis-a-vis in two platforms. One is the supply suppression of drugs. One of our mandates is actually to control the inflow of drugs in our communities, like people selling drugs, trafficking in drugs, bringing drugs through our borders, air, land, and sea. We do interdiction, we do prosecution, and we do incarceration. Then the other aspect of our mandate is demand control, demand reduction, as we call it. And perhaps that's what most of the ordinary people don't know in this country. One of our mandates, Section 5F and 5E, is to advise government, to advise the minister responsible for us about issues, how to contain, how to reduce the demand for drugs. But within that demand reduction package, we do public education, public sensitization. Like we'll come to this victim.
Yes.
Like some people don't know some of the effects of these drugs. So we do education, sensitization. We are also supposed to work with victims to rebuild their lives by way of counseling, by way of treatment, by way of rehabilitation, because we know we'll come to the statistics perhaps later, but basically. Then also what we do also is within the whole framework of what we are committed to as a country, to our regional organization, international organizations. For example, if you look at what is happening within ECOWAS, within the AU, within the UN system, there are strategies that are put in place to address substance abuse. So basically, our mandate is, it's not just incarceration, as most people think. We don't get pleasure arresting people and sending them to mile 2. And that's why the trajectory we are following the trending things now. That is looking at, for example, if you look at the UN, the UNGA, United Nations General Assembly, special sessions on drugs in 2016, the key emphasis at the end of those sessions is providing support, try to move the trajectory from suppression to demand reduction, from incarceration to support. Then you look at the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime. If you look at their theme for the past 2 years, one of them is 2023, for example, is stop discrimination, support prevention. 2025, just last year, we don't know what is coming in this year, 2025, but 2024, the theme was invest in prevention. Government should invest in prevention. Drug agencies, law enforcement should prevent in prevention. So within all that context, my predecessor and his team, myself and my team, we've been working towards that prevention regime to the extent that we conceived this idea of a rehab center.
Okay, which all comes under the the broad term of support.
Support, yeah.
And which leads us now to talk about the beneficiaries of this rehab center.
Yeah, yes. The beneficiaries of this rehab center is actually the youth of this country, because if you look at our statistics, If you look at the statistics of our seizures for the past 10 years, but I'll just confine myself to last year, 2024. Yeah. We had about, for want of refreshment, I don't want to commit this to memory, so I have some few figures here. We had 1,208 cases, drug cases last year.
Wow.
1,208 cases, of which less than 200 are trafficking. Less than 2. Over 1,024 are possession. And who are those involved in possession? 80% youths. If you look at the arrestees within this number of cases, 1,228 persons were arrested between January 1st and December 31st, 2024. 1,228 persons were arrested.
Oh, wow.
Of this, 1,024 are between the ages of 18 and 35. 1,024 are between the ages of 18 and 35. So the beneficiaries are actually Gambian youths. We have a situation, and also if you look at even statistics nationwide, 90% of our arrestees in 2024 are Gambians, not foreigners. So these are our brothers, our sisters, our uncles, our school children. So basically, the Gambian youth is starting to benefit. So when we process them, and we come to the tail end, like the prosecution aspect, and that's where you will not have any fun. Like as DG, I have the pain of making authorization for prosecution. I will have a file 60 years old, 5 years. I will have a file 18 years old, 5 years. Imagine sending an 18-year-old to mile 2 with 1 wrap of cannabis, something very tiny. Yeah. So you see, so we are saying we will, if we catch people with drugs, we'll arrest them. That's our mandate. But we are saying, what can we do to people, to young children, young boys and girls who have a problem with drugs, who have a problem with addiction, who have a problem with possession? And that's why we are making some amendment into the Drug Control Act. We are not going to open the floodgate for everybody, come and abuse. Like we discussed this here last night, that we cannot tolerate open abuse. But we should have a situation where we can say, what can we do to people who are first-time offenders, who are arrested with possession, with 1 wrap or 2 wraps of cannabis? So the rehab center, the youths have to benefit. But the people of Tranquil, with all due respect, we need to dialogue with them more so that they understand.
Now that you've mentioned the location, I mean, let's talk about, the choice of the location first before we go on to maybe the complexities, intricacies of, locating it there.
Yeah.
Why the choice of Tranquil? Of all the places, you could have situated this rehabilitation center.
Exactly. It could have been in Basse, in Jamanar, in Fatoto, in Brikama, in Bakau. Tranquil. Why Tranquil? And the answer is obvious. What happened? The practice, the norm of usage of proceeds of drugs is to, if you catch drugs and there are proceeds of drugs, the standard practice is to plow these proceeds to the benefit of the community. In Tranquil and elsewhere, we have forfeited property from the proceeds of drugs. Like the center is located at a compound that was used by a German, so way back in the early 2000. And this property was forfeited to the state. So it's a state property. So basically, we want the people of Tranquil and this environment to benefit from that proceed. Because that is also the practice. That is the standard practice. So we also have issues related, not only Tranquil and Brushby area, going back to the TDA, I wouldn't call the places having drug hubs or drug dens, but we have issues in these areas. And we believe that having this center in a forfeited property in a community, in a metropolis like Tranquil, will sort of address some of the issues we are facing, issues of drug abuse, issues of trafficking. And even inside Tranquil, 2 years ago, we arrested a British national, not close, not far from the site even. A British national, no disrespect to Britain anyway, but the nationality is British. He had a cannabis plantation inside Tranquil. 2023. Prosecuted, paid his fine. Last September, during my tenure, we arrested the same guy in Tranquil with a cannabis plantation.
Repeat offender.
Yeah, and this time round, he was experimenting production of cannabis conch and many other cannabis derivatives. He was arrested. So within Tranquil, within the Brusupi area, we have some issues of drug abuse and drug trafficking, particularly trafficking. So we thought that because that's our property, that's a government property, and we don't have any other place as suitable comparatively as that, we could have the rehab center in Tranquil.
Okay. But if you had somewhere else?
If we had somewhere...
Just a suitable...
More suitable. We're talking about suitability.
Okay.
At the moment of the land, of the landed property we have, Tranquil is the most suitable.
Okay.
Of course, we have a piece of land somewhere in Soma, perhaps somewhere. But we look at with the traffic, and we look at the proximity, and we also look at the population, because some of these things are informed by statistics that we have. We look at the statistics of seizures we have in Tranquil, Brusubi, Serco, the Greater Banjul area. So naturally, we will have it within this hub.
Okay. So you had this property since when?
2003.
2003. That's 22
years ago.
Why was this decision to convert it into a rehab center not taken even 10 years ago?
Perhaps we didn't have the funding, because when we've been looking for this long, even before I came to DILIG. There's no DILIG administration that has not been concerned with prevention and treatment in the past. It just happened just happened in my time. From the time DILIG was even conceived, the time of Bun Jammeh to Benedict Jammeh to Bakari Gassama to Musamba Gajaga and to myself, they've all been concerned. But we have to have the funding for it.
So where's the funding coming now?
This funding is now coming from ECOWAS, because ECOWAS realized that within its member states, Gambia is the only nation without a substance abuse disorder rehabilitation center.
Really? Guinea-Bissau has?
Guinea-Bissau has. Sierra Leone has. We don't have any. We do have Tanka here. I
was going to ask in what context.
They're doing well. They're doing well, but we know there are limitations. I don't think they are into substance abuse psychosis to the extent that we will be. They've been managing it to their credit, but we think when we set up this center, it will be perhaps a game changer. We will address issues related to abuse, because it's not just a rehab center. There's a whole package involved. And that's what we also want to emphasize here.
What's the other aspect of the package?
The other package involved is issues related to what we are suggesting in the Drug Control Act. We are just making some amendment into the act. Hopefully by early next week, we should be able to submit it to our ministry for onward transmission to the relevant authorities like the AG Chambers and the National Assembly. One of the things we suggested, and we did suggest this way back in 2014, and for one reason or the other, it wasn't approved. One of the things we are suggesting in the Amendment Act is community services, for example. So the center here will be a hub for what we are going to develop across the country. At the moment, we've already started drug-free clubs in all schools. We are also going to begin community action group, a similitude of community policing of the police. We know we are from the police, so we learn a lot from them, actually. So the community action group is going to take care of issues related to community service. For example, if you have a first-time offender, a wrap of cannabis, it's an offense. It goes to the court, sends to mile 2. We are saying now, can we explore an alternative? Can he go to KMC for 8 months to clean up the streets at KMC, for example? Can we send him to Jahali Pachar? Ceesay is a rice production, a government-owned rice production line. Instead of sending, because we have to look at the delicacy of the 18-year-old. if you send him to mile 2, well and good, he committed an offense. You are going to box him with hardened criminals.
Yeah.
Well, mile 2 has changed. We have to understand that they're doing a lot with their inmates now. But the recovery process is still not, it's still going to be a challenge because of the atmosphere he is. If you send him to community serving, and there'll be a probation officer responsible for him. So it's not just go to KMC and he thinks he's free. The whole regime has been set up. We are going to look at coaching. We are going to look at mentorship, where we can provide, not provide, but link these victims, because we have to understand there are perpetrators and victims. These are victims of drugs. They are different from the courier at the airport, somebody crossing at Jiboro, somebody having a big lot of a bag full of cannabis at our Serekunda market. No, we are talking about people who are hooked in drugs, whose families are struggling how to fix their lives. We are talking about people who got peer pressure, like the one who just peer pressure to go into drugs. We are saying, can we help them rebuild their lives? So that we are going to use this. If we are able to, I don't want to say fix, but if we are able to work with them until they get back their lives and they get free, these are the people we intend to use as part of our arm of advocacy for their peers in their communities, in the school. So the Community Action Group is going to be one of the programs at Tranquil, where we will involve opinion leaders, pastors, imams, VDC chairpersons, VDC members, to work with our team, to work with the members of the community. So actually it's going to be a way where we can reach out people using their own people.
Okay, fantastic. And how far away are we from the official opening of the rehab center? A matter of months or still years?
No, it should be a matter of months. According to the contractor and ECOWAS, because they deal with they agree between 3 to maximum 4 months.
So they are dealing with the contractor directly?
Oh, yeah, okay. Dilik has... I wasn't here when this was even championed.
Okay.
This started 2018, in which my predecessor and team engaged ECOWAS. Just coming back to your question, why was it not here before? When they engaged ECOWAS, because ECOWAS knew they are here. They know what's happening here.
Well, the president of the commission is from here.
Exactly. So they know what is here, and they know what is happening in other member states. They know the need, the urgent need cannot be greater, and they say we can have it there. So they have their protocol of engagement of their contractor. Even my predecessor, he may know what was going on, but it was between ECOWAS and the contractor. Okay. When I came up and engaged the contractor, I found that this was assigned even before I came, and the funds were even dispersed to this country even before I took over. So it was just a matter of trying to re-engage ECOWAS, and the program will kick off. And when it kick off, a couple of weeks ago, we were told between 3 to 4 months it should be done.
Okay. All right. So...
But I want to mention one thing also.
Yeah.
Just perhaps what the neighbors may initially just see is just a building. But we are also going to create recreational facilities for these people. And it is not going to be a large-scale hospitalization, because there's some little misconception. Yeah. People think it's a penitentiary.
That's what I was going to ask. Okay, I mean, the concerns of the community, because already we read in, the press that the people are concerned that what you're doing is you're going to bring hardened, criminals from right across the country into their society. And they have children growing up, they fear for the security of their women and all of that. Genuine concerns.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, what assurance can you give these people?
Thank you. Yes, we've had their concerns, and very legitimate for that matter. We want to respect their views, their concerns, and their opinions. But we want to allay their fears that this is in fact the opposite of what they think. This is going to be a quiet, calm place with security around the perimeter 24 hours. So the issue they raise in their concerns, as legitimate as they are...
They've met you, haven't they?
Yes, we've met. They wrote to us, they wrote to our oversight ministry, and our honorable minister, Minister Abdullah Sanyang, Minister of Interior, called us to a meeting, and we heard from them. And they're citizens. Even if it was one person here, he has the right to come call us attention,
Sure.
much more members of the community. During that meeting, in fact, we are going to engage them. They indicated that we didn't consult them. We started this project without them. And they also indicated all the issues, which I think we are not informed by statistics and facts. But the issue of consultation, they were spot on. We agree. So, but during that meeting, we indicated to them that this is far opposite of what they're even thinking about. This is not a prison. We are not bringing criminals who are jumping over the fence, going to your homes. We are bringing people who are struggling with their lives. And if you don't have any in your family, somebody has. I may have. These are people who need help. We are obliged also, as the Drug Control Act says, we are obliged to work with those people and not to stereotype them and stigmatize them and think, oh, they are criminals. The criminals and the victims are different. So these are victims who have no hope except a system, and the system cannot afford to fail them. So when we have a center like this, the community can benefit. So we will create recreational facilities. I mentioned that even your kids could come over to. We are going to have a multipurpose hall or a court there. Your kids can come over, and we are going to have a van for these people. If we have the resources, where we can put them in the van, in our vans, go with them, with our staff, to the community, to help them reintegrate, to go to sporting facilities, sporting extra programs like the stadium, cultural source, for example, like neck off, for example. So because that's the only way we can tell them, you were here. This is where you belong to, not in the street, not somewhere. We will come to the ghetto. Not in the streets where you are a nuisance to yourself, to your family, and to the society. So if we keep them there, but in effect we are trying to decongest the prison, to reduce the number of young people at Mile 2 and Joshua. It's a process. It will not be a quick fix like in a day or two. But even if we are not able to accomplish it, maybe our successors should be able to do so.
But the people of Tranquil, at least some of them, are bent on seeing the project stopped. They've written to ECOWAS. Like you said, they've met you, and I'm sure they've put it to you that they don't feel safe with the center there. Move it elsewhere. What are the chances of moving the rehab center elsewhere?
The chance of moving the rehab center is nil. I can say with certainty.
So whether they like it or not,
it's not about it. I think we have agreed with them. I can tell you. When we met on Friday, we agreed on, after meeting them on Friday, we agreed in principle to set up a four-member committee, two from them for us to write a joint statement. We did ours. They said they need time to do theirs. In the interim, then we said, let's engage them more. Then we went to the alkali of Tranquil. We went to the chief first. We went to the chief of the paramount chief. Then we went to the alkali.
There's no paramount chief.
Sorry, not Astaghfirullah. Yeah. We went to the chief of the area.
Because there are people who are clamoring for a
exactly.
paramount
chief. I accept my error.
Okay,
we went to the chief. Then we went to the alkali because it's a community engagement. When we went to the alkali said he was surprised that some people met us saying they don't like this project. And the alkali is Sanyang. He said, the people who met you do not represent Tranquil.
Oh, wow.
They are, but he and I admitted they are private citizens, and I'll be the first to defend their right to speak up. Their right but they are not representative of Tranquil. But we don't want to go into the detail of the...
It's unnecessary.
Out of respect.
It's unnecessary.
But I can tell you, but when we met the alkali, with his council of elders, the VDC representative, the imam, and some of the treasurer, the accountant, the auditor, a cross-section of the elderly people of Tranquil. They said they respect this group that met us, but they are not representative of Tranquil. But we could still engage everybody who speaks out, and the engagement is on. As of now, we have not have any cause that says this project is going to stall or even stop.
And ECOWAS is okay, as far as you know.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yes.
know, the project is continuing there.
The project is everything is going normal, and we will not get tired of speaking to anybody who reach out to us, whether it's coming from the Al-Qadi hierarchy or from the members of Tranquil, because we are going to be their neighbors. There's no way we can disrespect them. There's no way. Absolutely.
We are talking to Mr. Demba Ceesay, the Director General of the Gambia's Drug Law Enforcement Agency. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Jar Oil and Wave, who are responsible for this conversation being enjoyed on YouTube.
Axel jam si Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bisul mu fay.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
How will this project impact on the work of Tanka Tanka?
I think they'll be somehow complementary.
Yeah,
because
will it take some of the pressure off Tanka Tanka?
It will definitely take some of the pressure on them, because many a time I don't want to speak on behalf of Tanka Tanka, but I've seen people even in my neighborhood where somebody is struggling with drugs, and they will tell you, some of them will even come to me because they know I'm law enforcement. Some of them, even before I become DG, when I was director admin, some 8, 10, they'll say, in that company, there's somebody work with drug squad. Others will say, oh no, don't take him to Tanka Tanka. Because even the community, the Gambian people need to understand, when this is set up, of course, we and Tanka Tanka may come up with joint programs, sensitization programs like this, so that we can delineate some of these responsibilities for the public, so that they will know what to take to Tanka Tanka, what to take to a rehab center. So they'll be complementary, and people will understand that if somebody struggles with drugs, or somebody is not going to school because of drugs, you don't need to take them to Tanka Tanka.
So what will determine where a drug victim, I'm trying to use your own language now, others would say a drug addict, goes to Tanka Tanka or goes to the rehab center?
When this project was conceived some 4 or 5 years ago, our partners, international partners, help us in the planning process. One of the processes was training of people who will work in this center. Like they underwent a curriculum training, what we call the Universal Treatment Curriculum, which is a UN standard. So already some staff of the League, staff of social welfare, and few other actors that we work with are trained in the process. They are not experts, but they know the rudiments, how to start scouting for people who should be earmarked for our project. So they'll be working with that team will be working with Tanka Tanka and our community action group, and with the communities where they'll be operating to determine the suitability of admission of some of these people who are struggling with substance abuse.
We have until 1:30. Last week, it was Sparkling Black, Mohammed Silla, who sat where you are now, sitting, talking to me. You listened to the entire program.
Yes, I did.
He raised certain issues that you want to address.
Yes.
Earlier on, you did say that we will come back to life in the ghetto.
Exactly.
And of course, drugs impact what goes on in there.
Exactly.
Where would you like to start?
Yeah, life in the ghetto. I had the program. I listened to the gentleman. He's a really sharp guy. I listened to the confession of the people who also were in that recording. But gentleman, his charges were very legitimate in terms of youths hooked in drugs and struggling to leave. He talked about the ghetto, which I respect, but I do think the ghetto just like a bantaba. It's because there's no ghetto if there are no people.
Yeah.
And they are citizens. Just somebody has the right to go to sit at the bantaba. They have the same right to sit at the ghetto. But we do know also, if you have a child and you stand at your gate and there's a bantaba there, there's a ghetto there, and you unleash the child to go, chances are that you'll want him to go to the bantaba instead of to the ghetto. Just to show about the negative connotation about the ghetto in this country. The ghetto is, as he defined it the last time. But if it is for youth to meet, to exchange ideas, to talk about sports, to talk about arts, culture, to talk about entertainment, education, how to develop skills, it's perfect. I'll embrace it. But if it is a venue for illicit activity, it becomes problematic.
Which usually is.
Which usually is. Which usually is. And that's where we are struggling. And that's where the police are struggling. Our big brother, the police are struggling. And that's why we want the youth to understand we are not anti-ghetto, but we are anti-illicit activities. So, and that's the problem. And some of these people in the ghetto, we know how they get there. He explained their peer pressure, somebody lured them into it, and they go into ways of lives that become so entrenched they cannot get out of it. And that's what some of the things he emphasized. Our community action groups that we envisage as part of not only this rehab center, but as part of a whole demand reduction strategy, is to engage people who frequent these ghettos to work with them, because they know these places more than us, like the confession he made. Sometimes our knowledge is limited to seeing somebody abusing and arresting and going. Their knowledge could be deeper than that. And we want to learn from them, but also to make them also understand that we can also condone illicit activity. So it's going to be more of a balancing act when we start working with them, and to help them understand. And also, if some of them, like, who cannot come out of it, that's for us. That is even the focus. The people who are hooked in, who cannot come out, we want to get them out, because we know their lives have been shattered. And we know, I talk about the mandate, we know our mandate is also to work with people whose lives have been shattered, to rebuild these lives so they can get the opportunities you and I have.
One of the most profound statements Sparkling made, which has also been repeated by the confessor we heard earlier, is that you people don't understand the urge in them, and sometimes even the readiness in them
to reform. There's a belief that we do know that there's nobody who understands himself, who understands somebody more than themselves. We respect them for that.
That they want to quit, but they don't have the help to quit, the support to quit.
Yeah, I can.
And I was thinking this is where the context of the rehabilitation center comes in.
That's it. And I can say with authority that we have worked with people who are in that situation, and we have been able to, not on a large scale though, but that's why we want to make it on a large scale now. On a small scale, we have worked with people who think everything has been lost because of drugs. And our advocacy unit, and now we are going to have our rehab unit. People who have been trained. Our advocacy unit is, most of them are trained with public engagement, talking and convincing. But the cohort that is going to work are people who are trained in treatment. So this team should be able to bring these people to order and tell them, it is not yet lost. We can rebuild your lives. We can work with you. But the readiness, sometimes you will say, oh, they have to be ready. Sometimes they don't even understand when they're even ready. So you cannot even blame them for not coming up. But you can blame us if we set up this center and we are not reaching out to people and helping them rebuild their life. But we can say this authoritatively. We will work with them. We will work with the people in their homes, in their communities, in the ghettos, people that because these are not the people that we want to send to Mile 2. Because these are not criminals. They are victims. We know the criminals. We catch them. We have pleasure of processing their case file quickly and send them to Mile 2. Because we know what they do. They are the ones who are poisoning these young ones. These young ones, we think they are victims, And you look at the theme of the UN system, you look at ECOWAS, international body, and even our mandate, the theme is aging towards prevention, and not discrimination. So if somebody was even suggesting, why didn't you take the center away? So where there are no people, for example, in the villages, where we say that's discrimination. Why would you take? Okay. Why can't they live with
that? That would be isolation.
We're isolating them. They're even now, if people are struggling, even if they want to send them to Tanka, they'll say, no, don't send them to Tanka. So we should be careful of not just because we don't have somebody struggling with drugs in our families, we should not, there are others who.
Do you think the opposition, for want of a better word, to the rehabilitation center being cited where
exactly.
it is right now is a result of maybe the stigma, attached to tanka,
exactly,
and working with drug addicts?
There's a lot of stigma. People, even in our homes, we see this stigma. We see this isolation. Even with, I don't want to mention it, but I'm forced to. Even with disability, for example,
yeah, sure.
people tend to give a little distance, which is naturally more because they say, okay, disability we can accept, but this one, moko defal bopam. He did it for himself. Yeah. You don't know how he got into it. You cannot say he did it for himself. So we cannot isolate them. We cannot say, okay, they cannot fit in our communities because it could be us even the next day.
Mm-hmm. You're on record in today's The Point newspaper saying, or rather vowing, as The Point says, to make airports strictly off limits for drug traffickers.
Yes.
But as we were hearing from, that addict, there's a proliferation of drugs on our streets.
Yes, there is.
Kush, cocaine, pills.
Yeah.
So where are they coming from? They can't all be coming through the airport.
No, I agree with you. I respect that. The proliferation, yes. There are drugs all over West Africa. We have to, there's no way we can hide away from that. But that's why the league is here. That's why law enforcement is here. Just like we see there are crimes, and that's why the police are here. No, I don't think there is any country that tells its law enforcement, go home, we have won the war. So we are not trying to be complacent. We know it's happening. We know our borders, we can police them better than now, and that's why every day we want to be better than the previous day. We want to reinforce the borders, the airport the same, just like other services are doing. If you go to other services, they tell you what they are doing. I don't think I can speak for them, but I do know what they are doing. They are doing everything to make sure that our borders are secure and safe. And that's what we are doing also with law enforcement. Yeah, with coups, you just mentioned it, I have to bring it here. I don't know the statistics at the hospital, but I know with us, the seizures, coups has gone down last 4 months, definitely. In terms of it's either we are not catching them, and I don't think that is the case, or there's a reduction, or our borders are getting better, how to interdict, they know something is happening.
Let's hope it's the latter.
Let's of course it's the latter. But then I know until I hear from the hospital, the course admission, they have the statistics. But on our course interdiction, the numbers have gone down significantly between late November and this month.
And speaking of stats, I mean, the confessor said, I mean, we have up to 2,000 people dying, from. I thought if they were dying at that rate.
I think 2,000 people dying of drugs. I cannot comment on that because the hospital has the statistics. I wouldn't know, but I wouldn't call that an exaggeration. But I think the hospital should be able to put. But I can only talk on our interdiction, processing, and prosecution. But I do know that he talked about new drugs entering the illicit market. Perfect, he's right. Because in 2024, we arrested about 5 psychoactive drug types that we have never arrested.
Break that word down for us, psychoactive.
We've arrested vape. Sorry, they were not arrested in the previous year, rather. I wouldn't. Vapes, these are vapes, they have some, they're hallucinogenic, they can make you high, but they are prohibited.
Okay.
They come in the form of a
vape.
A vape, as the name implies.
Exactly. Yeah.
We also did arrest Molly. It's a type of drug. The derivatives could be cannabis. Was in arrested 23, arrested in 24. We also arrested black chips. These are like mint.
Wow.
They are drugs.
Black chips.
Yes. We also arrested infused gummies. These are gummies similar to the ordinary gummies that we buy from the market.
These gummies
you see, but they are different. The layperson wouldn't separate which one is drug, which one is licit, which one is illicit. We also arrested a controlled tablet, Gabadol, which for the first time. So the gentleman in that audio is right. There are new substances entering the illicit market nearly on a monthly basis, and it's not peculiar to the Gambia. It's all over the world.
And how are you preparing your men and women, to also
exactly.
up their game?
Yes, exactly. In fact, and that's even the reason why we arrested, because we are aware of where they have appeared, and we prepare our men. That's why we're able to arrest them. That's why we are able to identify them as not ordinary gummy that the kid can just go and buy. But the new substance entering the illicit market is a worldwide phenomenon which every narcotic agency is trying to address by capacitating your staff, doing capacity building, exposing them, telling them what's happening in the other parts of the world, and preparing them for anything unforeseen, anything unexpected, and it's happening. So we are arresting new substances, not only a large scale, but we don't want to be complacent that, this is a one-off thing. They could come on a large scale, because we know their origin. The origin where they're coming from is also a hub for counterfeit drugs and unauthorized production. So we are aware, and we are preparing ourselves to that.
You'll be glad to hear that Dr. Mamadi Cham, the CEO of Bundung Hospital, is corroborating your claim that Kush
has gone down
a lot. He just sent a text message.
Thank you.
Let me read it verbatim.
Okay.
This thing. Kush-related patients significantly reduced in Bundung Hospital in the past 3 months. So if all the hospitals were reporting this, it will make you a very happy man, I suppose. Yeah,
there's even a task force on Kush, and their chairperson is a DILIC staff. Before I came to this program, I asked him, do you have any statistics from the hospital about Kush-related deaths? He said no, but we know Kush hospitalization has also reduced in some of the hospitals, which tend to correspond with our interdiction, because our interdiction for Kush from November to now has reduced significantly. Not only reduced, but reduced significantly. But we don't want to be sure, it's going to go, because it's drugs and it's youths. And we know the age brackets, 18 and 35, which I mentioned, 80% of the people we arrested are within that age bracket. 18 and these are the people who get attracted by novelties. Anything new they want to try.
Wow. Yeah. Uncle Peter, DG Ceesay sounds compassionate, considerate, and empathic. He's the kind of enforcement officer the country needs to rescue the unsuspecting young. So somebody, really appreciate the good job that you're doing.
Okay.
In the meantime, the confessor warned that the drugs are now moving from the rural areas deeper inland. Yeah. That has to be worrying.
Yeah, it's worrying. It's worrying.
What are your findings? I'm sure you've toured the country not once, not twice.
Yeah, we have few places in the rural areas that maybe the few semi-metropolis like Farafenni, Soma, Bansam, Basse, the bigger towns and villages where we have what is happening there, but not at a large scale. The confessor is saying here, but we don't want to dispel his fears, and we appreciate his apprehensions. But we are not resting on our laurels. We are deploying our men anywhere we think this kind of things, and with that heads up, we will even reinforce what he charges here.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. Kindly ask the DG why they did not support and develop Tanka, since they're already far ahead in drug rehabilitation. It looks like they're starting from scratch and rivaling Tanka. You need to clear this.
That's the. You see, there are mandates. Some of people have right to opinion. Anybody have to defend. We have to defend people there. But some of this opinion have to be anchored on knowledge and on figures and statistics to make them even more valid. We even don't know how Tanka was created.
You don't?
No, but when I say don't know, I mean the status, the mandate of Tanka and stuff. We know it's on the Ministry of Health. But if we look at our mandate, they're quite different. The mandates are different. our work will complement each other. The issue of rivalry will never arise anyway. We just have one or two. There are countries that have, so even in our sub-region here, that have about 7 to 8 rehab centers and about 2 to 3 or 4 like Tanka. So we don't have to. We have to look at outside the box to know what is happening in our sub-region and in the world. We also look at the speciality. The specialties of Tanka and us are different. We are not going to address mental issues. We are going to address substance-induced issues. They are different. Perhaps we will need to call somebody from Ministry of Health to come and clarify. I may not be the expert, but I know our limitation is there to people struggling with drugs. People who think it's all lost. They will go and pick that. Even yesterday, a senior government officer came to my office. They didn't call, came to my office. There are young people in my neighborhood who you need to come and look to. It's like it's like they're putting his compound under siege, peddling around. And those people, some of them, he said, some of them even go and buy alcohol. Under 18, they go to the shops, buy alcohol with 18% vodka.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and if they have drugs, they'll put some of the drugs there. That's what the neighbor says. So so it's a problem. So those kids, we don't call them criminals. They are victims. They don't know what. I cannot say they don't know, but they need to be told what they are doing. They need help. Sometimes they even don't know they could be helped. And that's why I say it's going to be a complementary thing between us and Tanka. And we will sit in sessions where we'll harmonize. We'll look at our mandates, and of course we'll look at our expertise. They have a lot of expertise. They've been here as all as the mountains, so they know a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they could work with us, with their parent ministry and our parent ministry for us to harmonize our resources and our energies and our expertise.
We're nearing the end of this conversation, and we cannot end without talking about perhaps the most notorious drug hotspot in this country, which is Kololi.
Yes.
Around the Kololi Tavern. Why is it so difficult to disband that place? I mean, it's in your eyes. It's not like, it's being done, secretively.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you entirely, and we do come Kololi Tavern. We even 2 weeks ago, our people got wounded there on operations. We are not faced by that. We know we could be attacked, but we also understand that the problem is just Kololi. The problem is not just Kololi Tavern, but Kololi Tavern is, I agree with you, and even our big brother, the police, they are aware of it, and they're doing a great job in that area. But we have some few constraints which we cannot spill the beans here, but some of these constraints, we are addressing them. But we empathize with the neighbors. We want to crave on their patience. We will come to their rescue. We will come to Kololi Tavern. We've been going there. If I say we'll come, I mean we will reinforce what we are doing around Kololi Tavern. And not only Kololi Tavern, there are other hotspots around the TDA that have been flagged to us. We've been going there, we've been getting some attacks, and we've been making some arrests. Sometimes, on a few occasions, we even arrest juveniles there, and we take them to our center in Bruceby. And that's the worrying. In fact, Kololi Tavern is one of the things that even informing our this rehabilitation process. Among other things, it's informing us what to do in this project. And as regards with our community action group, we are going to involve the community members of Kololi itself to see how we can work as a team.
And if you listen carefully to Mohammed Silla, Sparkling Black.
Yes.
I mean, the call for help is not only for those people who are not consuming drugs, who see these people as a nuisance, saying that there are people, some of the drug users are victims themselves. I mean, they were dragged into this thing, and some of them want out, but they need people to come and help them, kick the habit.
Yeah, yes, they do need that. I think they need help. And we have families even calling us, come and pick our guy. But some of the family members will just, he's a nuisance, we'll come and send him to Mile 2. We tell them no, when we pick him, we want to work with him. That's what this project is coming to look at. The people who are reporting, come and get them from our neighbors, send them away. We are the pushers, the people, the traffickers, of course, we know their home. But the people that this seller talk about, their home is going to be something similar to this project we are going to have. We will bring them, we'll work with them. We know some of them have skills, we know some of them have potentials, we know some of them, their lives were robbed from them by their peers, some of them by their brothers. And we want to start, and once we start, perhaps we hope, let's pray, in the not too distant future, we should come here with one or two of them to say, I am here, I am one of those who they were talking about, just like the confession you had.
I'll close with a text message. Good morning, Uncle Peter. Your program is really good. Dr. DG Ceesay is really good. He's really doing a great job, and government should definitely invest in the fight against drugs. The Rehab Center is going to address problems affecting our youths, and this to me is long overdue. Let us all join hands and help in the fight against drugs. Together we can do this. D-League is really doing a great job right now. The question of investing in the fight against drugs. I mean, I'm sure even if you go to America and the UK, your colleagues, tackling drugs will tell you they need more funding. I don't know anybody who will ever say, I have enough funding, I don't need any more.
Thank you for...
But is government putting enough in the fight against drugs?
It is. They could put more, but they are. They could, if we had our wish, we will ask for more and they'll go.
Of course.
But being a developing country, we know the limitation of government, but we have asked, and on occasion we've been given. And we have asked, and on occasion we've been told there are issues that we have to sit and look at. So that's why we are engaging government. But government is aware of the situation we are discussing here. I've spoken to my principals many times for the opt-in time. Even 2 days ago, I was with the Minister of Finance, and he's so empathetic of our situation, and is willing to work with us. Because I'm not saying we are doing this for government, but we are doing this for the country.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Because the youth of this country, they're the heirs. They're the one who will hand over. When me and Peter, when we move, when we bow out, we are going to give to this 18-year-old. So government is aware. Government is aware that there's no way their legacy can be up in the sky without taking care of the youth. And that's what they are doing. That's why we work with our line ministries. Where government struggle, and they do, which is a developing country phenomenon, they lace us with people who could. That's why ECOWAS was flat out to us. If we may not be able to give it on you now, contact some partners like XYZ. And these partners, they don't also come in a vacuum. They come because there's a government. They come because they have some agreement, some commitment they have had with government, and they want to channel some of those commitments to law enforcement, not only DILIC, to other services. So yes, I think government they are doing well, they could do better. Right. It's all over. If you go to the West, the same.
Absolutely.
They are doing well. They could do more, rather. Sorry, they could do more, and they are doing more.
Campaigns will always ask for more money.
I want
Demba.
to make one more thing.
I was going to say, we'll end with that.
Okay, yes. Just to let you know, when one of our partners, not one, even two, asked me, I understand you're having a rehab center, and some community are saying no. Then they say, are you real? Is that this year? I say, no, but they are citizens, they have the right. But they say, but a rehab center, who can say no to it? Even when we met with the elders, I don't went with the community and the interior minister, one of them said, don't misquote us. We are not anti-establishment. We are not opposition. I said, no, this is not politics. And we all agree, this was not politics. That child lying in the street there, nobody will look at the child and think of politics. We just want to rescue the child's life, period. Then something. So in most countries, communities will go to law enforcement and say, we are struggling. Bring it here, bring the resources here, bring the facility here. And my partners will tell me, how come somebody is saying no to that community? I say, maybe there's a misunderstanding of communication, but we are communicating. Hopefully they will understand. So to the people of Tranquil, I want to assure you, this is for us. We know they all love this country, just like any other people from Brikama, from Banjul, from Fatoto. This is for our youths. This is not for DILIC. This is not for Tranquil. This is not for Brikama. This is for the youths of this country. And we can do more than what we are doing now for our youth, because we don't want to hand over an empty country. We want to hand over this country to people who can take off from what we give them. So that's why this project is here, and we crave on their understanding. We respect their complaints, but we crave on their understanding so that this project can go for the good of for our youth, for the good of this country. I thank you, Peter.
Demba, thank you very much for coming. That's Demba Ceesay, the Director General of the Drug Law Enforcement Agency of the Gambia.
Axel jam si Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de. Luta mënuloo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello? Ano lay waxal?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills, and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave, Bisul mu fine. Wave, your money is yours.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.